So I realized that I suck at introductions and I never introduce myself like a normal YouTuber. So here I am introducing myself. Hi, hello. Today's video, I will be answering the question, are vegans judgmental?
Yes, vegans can certainly be judgmental, but I want to discuss why this accusation is number one, a bit unfounded, and number two, completely irrelevant. I would be lying if I said that I never judge people for their life choices. But the thing is, everybody judges, and judgment is not inherently a bad thing. I think what makes us perceive judgment as bad is that we've entered this age of wokeness where things like racism and homophobia are despicable, and people who hold on to these oppressive ideologies are often judgmental. Fundamentalist Christians judge gay people for choosing sin over God, and white nationalists judge people for the color of their skin. But the problem isn't judgment, the problem is their ideology. It's wrong to judge a person for being gay or black because there's nothing wrong with being gay or black. But why is it that vegans are viewed as being judgmental? Well, I have a few theories. One, because we're a minority. Unpopular opinions are not respected, and those who voice them are often ridiculed. This can be a good thing, as some beliefs are unpopular for good reason. But obviously, what is popular is not always right. Most people follow the herd and tend to gauge what is wrong by what other people think is wrong. They will therefore develop the popular opinion that vegans are annoying and judgmental. This is a shallow assessment for reasons I'll get into later. My second theory is that vegans are viewed as judgmental because of cognitive dissonance. People know deep down that the arguments for veganism make sense, but they're also resistant to change. On some level, they know that their actions don't align with their values, and they don't want to feel like a bad person, so they find fault in vegans to protect their ego. My final theory is that people mistake voicing one's good judgment with being judgmental. The word judgmental is defined in two ways. The first definition being concerning the use of judgment, and the second being having or displaying an excessively critical point of view, or the tendency to judge harshly. The way it is used colloquially has a negative connotation. When we are describing a person as judgmental, we're using the second definition. I think vegans are often accused of being judgmental when they're simply expressing good judgment. I don't know of any data that confirms that vegans, on average, are more critical and harsh in their judgment of others.
In fact, there is evidence that vegans are more often the target of unfair judgment. In this study, vegans were viewed more negatively than atheists, immigrants, and gay people. The only group viewed more negatively than vegans were drug addicts.
A lot of vegans, out of fear of being perceived as judgmental, run a little bit too far in the opposite direction and become a bit too apologetic, reassuring people that they're not judging them for their dietary choices, for example, and validating people's excuses for not going vegan. This is a problem because it perpetuates the narrative that vegans are excessively harsh and critical.
I'm not like those other vegans.
I think there's a healthy balance where you are unwavering in your defense of the animals, but at the same time you recognize that good people do bad things. Being the subject of indoctrination does not make someone evil. And of course we should give people the benefit of the doubt when judging their character. When I'm around people who aren't vegan, I'm not just sitting there like silently condemning them. If a judgment pops into my mind, it is fleeting, and I go right back to viewing them through a positive lens. Is this not what everyone else does? But let's say, for the sake of argument, that there was data confirming that vegans are more judgmental than carnists. This would be completely irrelevant to the conversation about animal rights. Because whether or not vegans are judgmental, their arguments against animal exploitation are logically sound. It is unnecessary to consume animal products. Exploitation causes harm to animals. Therefore, it is immoral to exploit animals. Any discussion of the tone, behavior, or character of vegans in response to their argument is a fallacy known as shooting the messenger, aka an ad hom.
I realized after editing this video that I had a lot more to say on this topic. First of all, I do see harsh comments and judgmental attitudes from vegans, and I'm not excusing this type of behavior. My point is that this behavior is not unique to vegans, it's human nature. I think a lot of people should do some self-reflection and be a bit more forgiving of others. But there is also a such thing as being too forgiving. We don't want to excuse bad behavior in the interest of being understanding. What bothers me is when people act like online criticism is totally unwarranted. I'll see comments like, judging another person says more about you than it says about them. And I'm just like, does it though? It all depends on the context. What did this person do, or what did they say? And what is the nature of the criticism? Sometimes, even if I strongly disagree with a person's actions, I think that some of the criticism directed at them is a bit harsh. That's why I think it's important to learn how to give constructive criticism as well as how to handle criticism, because criticism and judgment are a part of life, and it's a balancing act. Another thing I wanted to say is that carnists, particularly ex-vegans, love to flip it around and play the victim. Rather than owning up to the fact that they are victimizing other sentient beings, they insist that they are the victim of vegan aggression and judgment. Oh, poor me, please pity me, for I am the victim of all of this awful online bullying. Again, I'm not excusing legitimate bullying like name-calling and death threats, but whatever emotional pain they experience from receiving criticism on YouTube does not come close to the pain they inflict on animals. I would much rather take a blow to the ego than a bolt gun to the head. They're literally complaining about being judged by others for causing harm to others. It's like when right-wingers are like, how dare you take away my religious freedom to oppress others? That's not how freedom works.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. You can be the judge of whether or not I'm a judgmental bitch. Alright, see ya.
Yo, how when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them say me nah eat no fish, nah no meat now. How when me eat them, I wonder when me yam. When me tell them say that I'm a vegan man. How when me eat them, I wonder when me eat. When me tell them say me nah eat no fish, nah no meat now.